Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Saira Mujtaba and with me is Nipunika Shahid, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauds India's feat of administering over 100 crore vaccine doses, calls for caution and COVID-appropriate behaviour in the festive season. UK Foreign Secretary Elizabeth Truss commences three-day visit to India. EU witnesses deadlock over the issues of rule of law and migrants. US President Joe Biden asserts commitment to defend Taiwan if attacked by China. Inclusion and humanity has been the larger tradition of India and Bangladesh, says Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh. Martin Scorsese and Istvan Sabo to be honoured with the Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award at the 52nd IFFI. And at the T20 World Cup, Namibia beat Ireland by 8 wickets, qualify for the Super 12 stage. As India has created history by vaccinating 100 crore people against COVID-19, All India Radio salutes all the doctors, nurses, other frontline workers and all those who got vaccinated and made this possible. Even though the country has achieved this feat, we caution our listeners that the battle against COVID is not yet over. We appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and also help others get vaccinated. During the festive season, please follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday lauded India's remarkable feat of administering over 100 crore vaccine doses. He said that it is a reflection of the strength of the country. Mr. Modi was addressing the nation this morning on achieving the milestone of 100 crore vaccine doses. The Prime Minister said it is a matter of pride for everyone that the entire vaccination drive of India has been science-born, science-driven and science-based. Mr. Modi said, despite reaching the 1 billion landmark, India's fight against COVID-19 is not yet over. Requesting all to celebrate the upcoming festivals with utmost caution, the Prime Minister said everyone has to ensure COVID-appropriate behaviour, wear masks and ensure social distancing.
मेरा आग्रह है कि हमें अपने त्योहारों को पूरी सतर्कता के साथ ही मनाना है और जहां तक मास्क का सवाल है मेरा इतना ही कहना है जैसे हमें जूते पहन करके ही बाहर जाने की आदत लग गई है ना बस वैसे ही मास्क को भी एक सहज स्वभाव बनाना ही हो जिनको अभी तक वैक्सीन नहीं लगी है वो इसे सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता दें जिन्हें वैक्सीन लग गई है वो दूसरों को प्रेरित करें मुझे पूरा भरोसा है कि हम सब मिलकर प्रयास करेंगे तो कोरोना को और जल्द हरा पाएंगे.
The European summit witnessed deadlock over the issues of rule of law and migrants on Friday. With regard to Poland, speaking to the media ahead of the summit, Chief of the European Commission, Ms. Ursula von der Leyen said that everyone has a stake in protecting the rule of law and judicial independence. Tensions between the EU and Poland escalated earlier this week as Ms. von der Leyen expressed deep concern over the recent ruling by Poland's Constitutional Court. In a statement at the European Parliament, Ms. von der Leyen said that the ruling calls into question the foundations of the European Union. A report.
The spat between the European Commission and Poland on Tuesday comes in the wake of the ruling by Poland's Constitutional Court on the 7th of October. The court had ruled that Polish laws have supremacy over those of the EU wherever the two are in conflict. This ruling strikes at the foundations of the European Union, which is based on a common legal framework amongst its members. In her address at the European Parliament on Tuesday, Ms. Ursula von der Leyen said that the ruling threatens judicial independence.
This ruling calls into question the foundations of the European Union. It is a direct challenge to the unity of the European legal order. Only a common legal order provides equal rights, legal certainty, mutual trust between member states, and therefore common policies.
In his response, Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki accused the EU of blackmail. The latest ruling by Poland's Constitutional Court is amongst a series of judicial reforms taking place in the country. The EU had earlier requested the Court of Justice to impose financial penalties on Poland. It had also sent a formal notice finding that Polish law on the disciplinary regime against judges is not compatible with EU law. Ms. von der Leyen stated that the Commission will act to ensure that the common values of the EU are upheld.
First option, infringements, where we legally challenge the judgment of the Polish Constitutional Court. Another option is the conditionality mechanism and other financial tools. The third option is the Article 7 procedure. This is the powerful tool in the treaty.
The current impasse is seen by some quarters as the first step to a Polish exit of the 27-member EU. Renu Kataria for World News AIR.
Meanwhile, Poland has joined the growing group of nations to recognize the Covishield vaccine. In a tweet, the Polish embassy in India said that Poland now recognizes Covishield as a vaccine equivalent to those recognized by the EU. This means that fully vaccinated individuals who took the Covishield vaccine are exempt from quarantine after entering the territory of Poland. The USA and China exchanged words over Taiwan following US President Joe Biden's assertion that the US is committed to defending the island if it is attacked by China. China, in its response, said on Friday, no one shall expect China to make any compromise or trade-offs over the issue of Taiwan. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin reasserted China's long-standing claim over the self-ruled island at a daily briefing in Beijing. Our Beijing correspondent reports that Biden's remark has prompted experts to reinterpret the long-held U.S. policy of strategic ambiguity, under which it provides key military support to Taiwan but does not officially recognize Taiwan. The White House officials later said that U.S. policy on Taiwan had not changed. China has stepped up pressure on Taiwan in recent months and sent dozens of its aircraft into the island's air defense identification zone and also conducted beach landing exercises near the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan's president, in her National Day address, asserted that there should not be any illusions that the Taiwanese people will bow to pressure. The United States has expressed serious concern over what it described as the continued erosion of human rights and fundamental freedom in Hong Kong. A statement by the U.S. State Department noted the increase in politically motivated prosecutions through the national security law. It called upon Beijing and Hong Kong authorities to release those unjustly detained and cease their crackdown on peaceful civil society organizations. It urged Beijing to abide by its treaty obligations in the Sino-British Joint Declaration. Meanwhile, the fourth meeting of the Japan-Philippines Maritime Dialogue was held on Friday in a teleconference format. In a statement, the Japanese Foreign Ministry said that both delegations discussed the latest developments in the surrounding seas, such as the East and South China Seas. The two sides affirmed the importance of rules-based, free and open maritime order. The statement added that both sides would continue close coordination in the promotion of a free and open Indo-Pacific and the ASEAN outlook on the Indo-Pacific. The meeting was the fourth in a series of maritime dialogues between Japan and the Philippines Maritime Dialogue held over the years. United Kingdom Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs Elizabeth Truss arrived in New Delhi on Friday on a three-day visit to India. During her stay in New Delhi, Ms. Truss will hold talks with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on bilateral, regional and international issues of mutual interest. The UK government, in a statement, said that Foreign Secretary Truss and Minister Jaishankar will announce a new Strategic Futures Forum. The forum aims at bringing leading figures from government, business and academia in both countries together to drive closer links in priority areas like tech and security and shape the longer-term strategic vision for the partnership. As part of the visit, Ms. Truss will travel to Mumbai on Saturday.
During the India-UK virtual summit between the two prime ministers on the 4th of May this year, the bilateral relationship between the two nations was elevated to comprehensive strategic partnership. The ties have been marked by regular high-level exchanges and growing cooperation in diverse areas. The External Affairs Ministry said Ms. Truss' visit will be an opportunity to review the Roadmap 2030 launched during the virtual summit and further deepen the partnership across various sectors like trade, science and technology, innovation, defence, climate, education and health sectors. United Kingdom Navy Chief Admiral Sir Tony Radakin on Friday met Indian Navy Chief Admiral Karambir Singh in New Delhi. Amongst other naval bilateral cooperation issues, the chiefs emphasized on collaborative mechanisms towards ensuring peace and security in the region. Admiral Radakin is on a 3-day visit to India from Friday. He is also scheduled to visit Indian Navy's Western Naval Command at Mumbai, wherein Admiral Radakin will interact with Vice Admiral R. Hari Kumar, Flag Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Western Naval Command.
In Bangladesh, police have arrested the person suspected to have put the Holy Quran inside a mandap in Kamila town during the Durga Puja, which led to communal disturbance at several places in the country last week. Based on the analysis of the CCTV footage, the police had identified Iqbal Hussain, a resident of Kamila, as the culprit. He was seen carrying a copy of the Holy Quran towards the mandap and returning after some time with the mace of Lord Hanuman in his hand. The police said that the suspect was arrested from Cox's Bazar area on Thursday night and was sent to Kamila. Our Dhaka correspondent reports that Home Minister Asaduzzama Khan said that the incident seems to be a pre-planned one. Meanwhile, 102 cases have been filed against more than 20,000 people in connection with the violence against the minority community after the desecration incident. In all, 584 people have been arrested so far, and the drive is underway to arrest the remaining offenders. Meanwhile, Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Vikram Duraisamy, has said that the larger tradition of India and Bangladesh has been of inclusion and humanity. Addressing a gathering of eminent persons from different communities during the Bijoy Sammelan, organized by the High Commission of India on Thursday in Dhaka, the High Commissioner said that the founding values of India and Bangladesh reflect the pluralistic spirit of South Asia, which must be defended at all costs. Speaking about the events that took place in Bangladesh in the recent past, the High Commissioner said that what happened in the country was not the norm. He expressed hope that the people and the government of Bangladesh will successfully combat this and show to the world that the unique spirit of Bangladesh remains strong. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
In today's Hotspots section, we bring you a discussion on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's address to the nation on the achievement of a milestone of 100 crore vaccinations in the country. In conversation are Shekhar Iyer, a political analyst, and Ruchika Chitravanshi, a journalist.
A day after India touched 1 billion doses of COVID vaccines, which is one of the highest records in the world, next only to China, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today addressed the nation and congratulated everybody on this very special milestone. He's talked about a lot of issues, about especially science-born, science-driven and science-based vaccination program that we have seen. We have with us Mr. Shekhar Iyer. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what the Prime Minister said about the importance of science and how it has been a driving force behind the vaccination program, especially why is it so important to stress this point?
So what the Prime Minister wanted to tell people the day after this important achievement was, look, we have done it. Yes, we can do it. I think that was the central message from the Prime Minister. But along with that, Prime Minister also underscored the fact that all this was done in a country where people continue to believe in, traditional remedies, or some people still have doubts over the efficacy of the modern medical system. Despite all this, by and large, people accepted the best way to fight infections of the kind of COVID-19 was to adopt the most scientific methods, most proven methods, and in a manner, as you mentioned, the Prime Minister himself put it in a very, very lucid way, saying it was science-based, science-bound, science driven. So which means that throughout the exercise that we saw right from the development of the vaccine, it was put through various trials, it got the clearance, the required mandatory clearance, then it was distributed or administered in a manner where first the vulnerable sections were covered, particularly the health workers, the frontline workers, then the senior citizens about the age of 60. And as the availability of vaccines increased following stepping up of production, we saw more and more sections of the population be covered, encouraging the private sector and public sector participation, and also ensuring that the necessary logistics are rolled out both at the central level and at the state level, and which is what was done.
So he said, he talked about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, and Sabka Prayas, which is also something that you are saying. Now, in this vaccination journey, obviously, there have been a lot of learnings that we've had. The vaccines were not always free for all everywhere. It was a process that happened. Slowly and gradually, we opened it to a larger groups of people, starting with health workers and frontline workers, then above 60 and 45, and then to above 18. And now we have come to a stage where even talking about children vaccines, and those trials are going on, the approvals are happening. What did the Prime Minister say about some of the challenges that we faced on this way? I believe he has talked about the manufacturing issue. Can you tell us a little bit about that as well?
So if you look at the scenario, then you probably understand that we were fortunate that right from the beginning, the government and the private sector involved in the vaccine development realized the need to do something on our own. That's why you had the Serum Institute as well as AstraZeneca, getting into a pact and, doing the Covishield vaccine, bringing the Covishield vaccine, the first one. Then you had another venture which involved the ICMR and the biotech, which is another private unit. Now, the fact that we, kick-started this process, and also you had to fight the traditional vaccine hesitancy for, some communities, for whatever reasons, they have always had doubts about whether it was a polio vaccine or so. Now, fighting all this mindset required, normally it should have required, no politics on this issue, but unfortunately we did have politics, a lot of politics. And overcoming, and those politics, did not make TV headlines. They did have impact on people's mind, because people started wondering, even when the vaccines begin to be available, should be the first to take it, or let's wait for somebody else to take it and see what happens. So gradually the fears vanished. And the fact that the fears vanished shows that more and more people were beginning to believe in our science. More were willing to believe in the fact that India today has a system that can produce a vaccine as good as which is available in the West. And also we have that infrastructure which could, right from the stage of, development of vaccine to production of vaccine, onto the other necessary logistics that require, shipments across the country to different state capitals, to different districts, to nook and corner. And today you have had visuals, which is being shown on most televisions, where vaccines are being carried on boat, on camelback, up on their back, up the hills. This is the kind of pictures that shows that how the vaccines had to be taken, they had to be refrigerated, kept at a temperature much below the normal temperature, and had to be delivered in a manner where once a vial was opened, you had to administer at least 10 people. That required, ensuring that a good number of people turned up at the vaccination booths. Now, all this required a lot of logistics and lot of supervision at every level, and we could achieve it. This is a people's achievement.
It is definitely quite a feat for the country, the size of India, to have achieved this sort of an achievement, to have achieved 100 billion doses. Also, as you talked about, the topography of this country is very challenging. And obviously, we do not have the kind of resources as many of the developed Western countries have, and they have been able to vaccinate at a certain pace. Given all of that, I think India has done remarkably well in achieving what it has. Now, one of the things is that obviously we have 1 billion doses. Going forward, the big challenge is also to ensure that everybody who's got the first dose gets their second dose and is fully vaccinated. Because as we are now focusing on second dose, so many other countries have moved on to a third dose as well. So there's a lot of forward-looking approach also that is required. Now, all this aside, one of the things that PM has talked about is the upcoming festive season, which the Health Ministry has also been underlining. We are seeing people gathering already in large numbers, and perhaps it is time for caution that we cannot let our guard down as this speech has pointed out, as Mr. Modi has pointed out. Can you tell us a little bit about that as well, Mr. Iyer?
Definitely, what the Prime Minister reminded us was, just as, last year, it was around this festive season that people began to think that the first wave is ebbing and that we are coming out of it. And we saw in many places, particularly during the festivals like Deepavali and, other festivals that came by the year end, the tendency to assume that, okay, now we have overcome. Prime Minister wants us to avoid this kind of complacency because no matter, as he put it today in his address to the nation, no matter how good the cover is, the cover provided by the vaccine, no matter how much modern the armor, the vaccine immunization that it gives you, and even if it gives you complete guarantee of protection, but you cannot give up the weapons, while the battle is on. So there is no reason to get careless. So the best way is to remind ourselves, just as you would not step out of your home, without putting on your shoes or slippers. Similarly, do not go out without wearing a mask.
Now, one of the things that has been the strength of India in this whole vaccination drive is that we had two homemade, manufactured in India vaccines, which obviously was a big shot in our arm. The Covishield vaccine being produced by the Serum Institute and the Covaxin by Bharat Biotech. There are more vaccines in the pipeline. So amid all this, there is a sort of a chorus of made in India products, and PM has also urged Indians today to encourage this like a national movement, and he has drawn comparison with Swachh Bharat as well.
When you look at the way we have fought this COVID, and particularly the vaccine drive, and along with that, the fact that this COVID, the crisis, the COVID-induced crisis made the government of India to come up with the Atmanirbharta campaign, The campaign was born in the thick of the crisis. The idea that we should utilize this crisis as an opportunity to develop our own inherent strength, that began with the manufacture of PPE, personal protection equipment. We didn't have that many kind of thing that was needed to fight the disease. So the first thing we did was, our industries, our local entrepreneurs were encouraged to manufacture these PPEs so that, we didn't have to even import this, though some quantities had to be imported initially. That was the first stage. So what the Prime Minister is saying is, look, people, there was a time when we had such a low opinion of products made in our country, we would be very proudly displaying things, as the Prime Minister said in his address. This is made in US, made in Japan, made in UK or whatever. But today a time has come. There are things that when they bear made in India, mark, that means we should also be proud of the fact that there are products that can be made of good quality, world quality, error-free in this country.
Lots of pointers to take from today's speech of Narendra Modi. He has given a word of caution to Indians going forward and has lauded the kind of efforts that have been put by everybody together to make this 100 crore doses a success. An important message is that this has been a science-based exercise. We have to keep that in mind going forward because this is a pandemic which is still not over. We are still seeing countries struggle with it, and that kind of approach is something that will truly get us out of these waters. Thank you so much, Mr. Iyer, for elaborating all the details with us and explaining and putting in perspective what the Prime Minister said today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
India's Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Mr. Anurag Thakur, has announced that Mr. Esteban Szabo and Mr. Martin Scorsese will be conferred the Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award at 52nd International Film Festival of India in Goa. Esteban Szabo is one of the most critically acclaimed Hungarian film directors of the past few decades, known for masterpieces like the 1981 film Mephisto and the 1966 film Father. Martin Scorsese is one of the major figures of the new Hollywood era, widely regarded as one of the greatest and most influential directors in film history. The minister also announced that for the first time ever, films from the 5 BRICS nations will be showcased through the BRICS Film Festival alongside IFFI. The 5 countries, namely Brazil, Russia, South Africa, China and India are also the focus countries of the 52nd IFE. The minister also informed that for the first time ever, IFE has invited major OTT players to participate at the festival. In a first, Netflix, Amazon Prime, ZEE5, Woot and Sony Live will participate at the film festival through exclusive masterclasses, content launches and previews, curated film package screenings and various other on-ground and virtual events.
Understanding of digital China can offer valuable insights to Indian policymakers as well as industry, said India's Foreign Secretary Mr. Harshvardhan Shringla. In his speech at a seminar on leveraging China's economy, he reiterated External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar's statement that the ability of India and China to work together will determine the Asian century. He added that for this to happen, peace and tranquility in the border areas is necessary. Mr. Shringla expressed hope that the Chinese side will work with India to bring a satisfactory resolution to the current issues and make progress on bilateral relations. And moving on to sports now, in the Men's T20 World Cup, Sri Lanka thrashed Netherlands by 8 wickets in their final Group A League match at Sharjah. Sri Lanka bundled the Netherlands out for just 44 in 10 overs and then chased down the target in 7.1 overs to finish the qualifying stage with 3 wins from 3 games. Sri Lanka bowlers Lahiru Kumara and Wanindu Hazaranga picked 3 wickets each. In another Group A match on Friday, Namibia defeated Ireland by 8 wickets at Sharjah to qualify for the Super 12 stage. Opting to bat first, Ireland scored 125 runs for 8 wickets. In reply, Namibia chased down the target with 9 balls remaining. Namibia is now the 4th team that joined India, West Indies, Australia, South Africa, Afghanistan, Pakistan, England and New Zealand for Super 12 stage, which will begin on Saturday. All India Radio will broadcast ball-by-ball commentary of the World Cup from Saturday onwards.
Australia's second biggest city, Melbourne, lifted the set of restrictions it had placed for over 260 days on Friday. The latest set of restrictions had begun on the 5th of August. Meanwhile, New Zealand has set a vaccination target of 90% of eligible recipients as its benchmark for lifting lockdowns. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said that her goal has shifted from eliminating COVID-19 to minimizing its spread in the community by increasing vaccinations. Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Guardian says Twitter admits bias in algorithm for right-wing politicians and news outlets. The Globe and Mail reports Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine shows 90.7% efficacy in clinical trial in children. The Washington Post writes US officials caution companies about risks of working with Chinese entities in AI and biotech. Financial Times reports Moldova poised to declare state of emergency over gas crisis, and Wall Street Journal says ransomware gang masquerades as real company to recruit tech talent.
A quick look at the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauds India's feat of administering over 100 crore vaccine doses, calls for caution and COVID-appropriate behavior in the festive season. UK Foreign Secretary Elizabeth Truss commences 3-day visit to India. EU witnesses deadlock over the issues of rule of law and migrants. US President Joe Biden asserts commitment to defend Taiwan if attacked by China. Inclusion and humanity has been the larger tradition of India and Bangladesh, says India's High Commissioner to Bangladesh. Martin Scorsese and Esteban Zabo to be honoured with the Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award at the 52nd IFE. And at the T20 World Cup, Namibia beat Ireland by 8 wickets, qualify for the Super 12 stage. India is celebrating the 152nd birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Before we end, let us listen to his favourite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by artists from Belgium. we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.